Hey guys, welcome to the CO visit. Colin here, and always with my trusty coffee. Just a little warning at the beginning of this video. If you can't stand watching somebody eat or munching on a delicious cookie, then you can stop the video right here. Save yourself the trouble, and me too, because I'm going to do it anyway. So I just got home from work and I'm hungry, and So I'm going to talk about Sweden today. Sweden is at the forefront of our news. Congratulations to the Swedish government for making a decision, taking a stand, particularly an entity of the government that's called the Authority for Religious Support. It's an entity of the government that's responsible for allocating funds to religious organizations. But they have to do that under a new law in Sweden that has to do with democracy criteria. It's called democracy criteria. That means that these religious organizations have to have programs and practices and beliefs that are in support of democracy. Of course, what does that mean? That means granting people freedom. That means respecting people's choices, something that the Jehovah's Witness organization is not known to do. Even though their lawyers and the governing body itself lies in court and say that they do, and in their publications, but we all know the culture of the organization, and we all know that in reality, in practice, that is not the way it is. So basically, the Jehovah's Witnesses, under this new law, sent in an application for state funding, and the government denied it. What did they deny it on? Based on the fact of the practice of shunning. And they said specifically that denying people basically fellowship with their families, their social circles that are very important to them because of differences in belief, or because that person left the religion, and they didn't specify how. They didn't specify if that's because they committed some wrongdoing, or because they were unrepentant, or simply because they didn't want to do it anymore and they disassociated themselves. They didn't make such distinction. They just said that because you leave a religion, you're cut off. It's a form of abuse. And they said it's especially sensitive when it deals with minors. So I certainly hope that Norway is watching and taking notes. However, I will say this. I'm not naively optimistic, and I'm not celebrating yet. I'm glad. This is good news. I applaud any measures that are taken by governments to limit or to ban altogether the harmful practices of the Watchtower organization. I'm all for it. But we have seen this before, haven't we? So I think it's a little bit premature to singing a victory song yet. A little bit premature because we've seen this before. And you know, right now, this comes out and they say, no, or in this case, Sweden denied state allocated funds to Jehovah's Witnesses. And everybody's celebrating. However, just remember, Watchtower are masters at litigation. They love to be in litigation. They're always litigating. All the time. They're good at it. They are good at it. Don't underestimate Watchtower in court. Remember that in the past, they have several Supreme Court rulings in different countries that back them up. You know now what's going to happen. What do you think is going to happen now? Let's do a little pop quiz. Okay? Sweden just denied on October 24th. This just came out on October 24th. They denied state allocated funds to the Jehovah's Witnesses as a religion. Okay. What comes next? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that Watchtower's just going to roll over and take it? Do you think they're going to go, oh, well, I guess we better wait on Jehovah. I guess we better put it in Jehovah's hands. Isn't that what they tell you and I? They tell you and I not to go to court. That's what it says in their Elder's Manual. That's what it says in many of their publications. They will discourage rank and file members from going to court. Yet Watchtower doesn't practice what it preaches. They're in court all the time. When it comes to defending themselves, then they agree with going to court. But they don't want you doing that. See how it works? So, you can bet, and I would bet, the crown jewels that were stolen from the Louvre in Paris, next thing we're going to hear is that Watchtower files an appeal. Of course they will. They're going to file an appeal. And they might win. Knowing how finicky and wishy-washy these Nordic governments seem to be, they might win the appeal. It gets overturned. So the appeal and all that's going to take another year. So we're going to be waiting for the appeal, waiting for that process. And then the appellate court might overturn it. And then what happens? The state is going to appeal to the Supreme Court. And here we go again. So that's why I think it's really, really important. There's no information yet about any of that. Then none of that has come out yet. So most likely what's going to happen in the meantime is what's going on in Norway, because we already have a date for that. That's February 4th to the 6th, 4, 5, and 6, that the Supreme Court of Norway is going to hear the appeal of the prosecutor of the state. So I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens in Norway, and that will be symbolically kind of taking the temperature and kind of a foreshadowing of what might happen in Sweden if Watchtower appeals, which we know they will. They always do. And I guess we just have to see what happens. We have to give time to time and see what comes out of it. So for the time being, as I said, I applaud Sweden. Thank you for standing up for human rights. Thank you for standing up for people who are victims, those of us who are victims of this psychological and emotional abuse. Thank you for standing up for minors, like my daughter. And I hope, Sweden, I hope you'll hold the line. So I want to thank all of you. Thanks for putting up with me smacking and eating and all of that, and slurping and everything else. I know it drives some people crazy, but such is life. This is the real deal. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate all of you. You know, all the diverse ways of supporting us to keep the coffee flowing. So I'll see you guys in the next CO visit. Be blessed. Take care.